Hello and welcome back to the North Pole. Happy holidays from my special seasonal build here in City Skylines on PS4 Console Edition. Today there's a couple of things I want to focus on for episode 4. So I think there's two big pieces to Santa's operation I haven't hit yet. The first is a list. So everybody knows, Santa doesn't just decide at random who gets toys and who gets coal. He has a list and he maintains it. He checks it twice. So I'm thinking it would be good to put some sort of list operation down here to ensure that that's all being handled appropriately. Secondly, when Santa's done, he doesn't just, kick back with a beer or anything like that. He's got a very particular taste, which seems to be cookies and milk. So I think we'll have to set up some crop imports in order to get a bakery off the ground and a milking parlor to make sure that Santa's getting his cookies and milk. So if you've watched the first 3 episodes of the series, you know that we've been quite busy here at the North Pole. In our first episode, we built Toy Town here, which includes the toy factory, one of the unique factories from the Industries DLC. Quite a setup here to make sure it's got plenty of wood. It needs plain timber and paper, plus a little oil import industry here to produce plastics for the toy factory. Episode 2 focused on coal mining. Make sure we have plenty of stuff for the bad kids as well. You can see we've got quite a coal operation out here, a little mining town, and the mines themselves off the side of the mountain there. And then, of course, episode 3, with all of those goods ready to go, Santa needs a way to deliver them. That's where our airport comes into play. This is a cargo airport, really a cargo sleigh port, complete with reindeer stables here. So the first thing I want to look at is Santa's list. I think the printing press is going to be perfect for that. So the inputs are plastics and paper, which we're already producing, which is quite handy. I think this block right here makes a lot of sense. I do want to be mindful of the pollution though, because this is housing right here. We've got like 4 spaces there. So if I come through, be able to do like right here. So we're just creating a little one-way access road there. And then this will fit right here, right? Sure will. There we go. So now we've got Santa's list right there. So that's going to need paper and plastics, which we should have plenty of back here. So our paper production is a little lacking. It's because we've only got the one facility right now. Plastics is fine. The other thing I want to do actually is create a couplet here. So I'm going to come through and I'm just going to turn these roads one way. I think up to here. And we'll have it just circle back around. And I just need to change the direction on a couple of these. So I got one that's turned around. There we go. Okay. So hopefully now that'll help with the traffic pattern a little bit. We can work with this. That's going now. And then I just want to see what else we could do in terms of paper. The pulp mill is what we need. I guess we could just replace this. Let me do that. Because that'll increase our output, right? 64 tons a week versus 32. Yeah, so that should double paper production. Obviously, that's our old area of effect. Here's our new one. But we should be okay. Put a couple of paths back through here. There we go. Okay. So hopefully that'll help with paper production. So Santa's list, listing HQs is handling the production and maintenance of Santa's list right here behind the workshop, next to the toy factory. So I'm feeling pretty good about that. The next thing I want to look at is cookies and milk. The bakery right here. This requires crops, flour, and animal products. It's not that big. The real question is, where do I want to put this? And I wonder if maybe we don't look right here at a little cookie town. So let's get into what that could look like. Check the terrain. If I come like right at it right there, that should work. Bingo bango. We will need some things here, right? So we'll need the large grain silos. We'll need a flour mill. Go ahead and make this an industry area now, since that's an issue. Area has no main building, so we will have to put down a farm main building, unfortunately. I'm kind of bummed about that. I was really hoping that wouldn't need it because I'm not sure how to fit this in here. Okay, we'll do that. And then I want a milking parlor. So obviously I think Santa needs milk for his cookies, plus that's going to give us the animal products we need for the bakery. So those are the essential pieces here. Let's see how I want to orient this. Because I'm thinking I'd like some nice clean grids around the bakery here. Really expand the industry area here so I've got plenty of room to work with. So it makes sense to have the crops on this side, I think, because those will be importing, and then those will be going into our flour mill and our milking parlor. And our farm building could be like over here with this, I guess. So then obviously what we'll need to think about too is how we're going to actually get in here. I think this is probably the spot right here. I don't know if an interchange is actually the way to go, because sometimes it's a little tricky on the two-way highway. Yeah, see, it wants to give people the option to go either direction there, which I'm not really... I'm a little perplexed by, to be honest. And now it wants to let the people going that way make this wildly sharp turn here, which doesn't make a ton of sense to me. Just I'm halfway tempted to just tee into this for now, and if traffic gets bad, we can go from there. So I want to use dirt road here. We'll do that. Bring it down like so. I may need to just slide all that back. Go ahead and fix the terrain up real quick. That can never happen. Let's go ahead and hook the power up again. Now we can come and look at this right here. So, obviously need to rethink the orientation here a little bit. Can just come straight out from there, I think. Let's be mindful of our terrain. We are really on the edge of the cliff here already, so that's good to know. So I think what I'd rather do is sort of have this come back then. Just kind of sliding pieces into place here, seeing what fits where. There we go. And that's just a little too big for that. But that's looking like a proper bakery operation there now. Obviously we would need storage for flour and animal products as well, so let's think about that really quick. So that would be flour, this would be animal products. Actually, maybe let's switch those around. Yeah, because this is a little closer to the milking parlor. That's a little closer to the flour mill. So it gives us a nice place to draw a natural conclusion to this block, and maybe even flip this around. So, yeah, like that. I may even just come in with one more set of big silos. Or two if they'll fit. Yeah, why not? So I like how that's looking. Yeah, I like that there a little better, and that'll be better serviced by emergency vehicles. I think in terms of power, we just stick a temporary line right there. And of course, we'll need our water as well. What I think I want to do is upgrade some of this to heat pipes. And we should be able to just come out here. Run that along there. Do it up through here. That should be water and heat for everybody. Let's go ahead and check and see how many jobs this is going to take. So we'll call this the Cookie Factory. Well, let's be real. It's Santa's Cookie Factory, isn't it now? Just so everybody knows, just so everybody knows. Let's see if we can get a job rating. So 360, it's already half staffed. Needs a lot of uneducated workers. Let's go ahead and pull this back. We can do another little grid down here as long as we're cognizant of the terrain. So let's take a look at that. Bring that back out to there. How's that? That's a little too far. In fact, I may just want to rotate this around to there. Let's potentially turn this into a little bit wider of a road. Come through and upgrade these as well. Looking good, looking good. How much room back do I have to work with here? So let's go ahead and bring this all the way back. And we'll just see, and yep, that was a little too far. That's a little better, gives me a little room to play with there. Just checking our info views again, so that gets a little wonky out there. That's a little better. Just check our pollution. Noise is fine. It's all concentrated on the other side of the road there. Seems okay. I need to make separate little... This will be Cookieville. So we are struggling with some production there, clearly. Let's go ahead and upgrade the road right here. And then just check that. And obviously the big need here is staffing. So let's think about that a little bit. Obviously I want to grab Cookieville here and set it to European. Just continue the grid pattern on the other side there, and we have plenty of room to keep coming out here. Come like all the way out to here roughly. This will be our cookie storage. We'll set that to fill. Okay, stuff's starting to pop in here. Just gonna continue to zone a little bit right here. Try to transition down from high rise to low rise. We'll do a little more commercial back through here just because we are seeing some high demand. So here comes the farm crops trucks now. We're going to see a little bit of a traffic backup here as they fill this one up. Hopefully we'll see our worker numbers start to self-correct here a little bit. That looks good. Obviously we'll want water over here. Looks like we're very healthy on heat capacity right now. Water, we're also fine. Power, we're riding the line a little bit. I don't know. Where'd you look? It looks pretty good. So we may need to think about that in the short to near term here. I feel like this doesn't make a lot of sense there, but that could just be a nice restaurant, I guess. It does make sense for every town to have their own fire, though. Fire department. In fact, I'm going to get rid of this. Move that there. Then we can put our fire department right there in a nice prominent spot with good access. Okay, things seem to have settled down a little bit over here. We're still obviously having trouble, but this is working now. This is not working yet. Alright, I think what I want to do is create a traffic pattern. So why don't I come through with this? We'll do that, we'll do that. This, 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 this. So I just need to change the direction on this guy. Hopefully now we'll alleviate a little bit of this traffic, even though everybody is coming in right there. So that's just going to be a factor of how this sets up. That's okay. More stuff popping in through here, looking good. Boosting that population up. Okay, so the traffic situation's not great. Wonder what we could do about that here. Short of creating a divided highway, I don't know if creating an interchange will really help much. Maybe the answer is to create another way out of here too. So let's take a look at the terrain here. We could pretty easily switch back up from here. That's not looking good there. Let's just back that up a little bit. So just bring that in with a nice clean T, and they're already going to start using that. Not unexpected. So there we go. Maybe that'll pull some of the traffic. This has already started to clear up down here, so let me slow it down again. Okay, not bad. Let's go ahead and bring this back here. Should do like that, like this. Just hooking some things up here now. Around there. In fact, I may want to just slide a couple of things around here. I think do that, and then do this. And we could still put a bit of commercial out here. I just want to come through and try to get as much residential density as I can through here. Interesting, we are seeing residential or industrial demand pick up for the first time in quite some time. We've got roughly 350 jobs available, so I'm not too worried about it, but it's something to be mindful of. We may just want to think about whether or not we want to stick some offices in here and there. Maybe we could do a row right here. We do have some more educated folks now. Maybe we just put a library down here too. I think that's a good spot for that. I wonder, I think we're sort of hitting our elementary capacity again. Doesn't make sense to stick another one of these out here. Our high school is looking a little precarious too now. So the other thing I think I'd like to do is just come through here. Just try to kind of wind around through the trees here. There we go. Just creating a little bit of a way to get down through here. In fact, I'm not happy with this bit. There we go. I think out here at the edges, just do our classic 2x2s. That'll leave us a little bit of room for some extra landscaping as well in the middle of all those blocks. Alright, and it's actually doing okay in terms of workers. Maybe we should think about some other offices elsewhere. I was worried that this was going to be too noisy here, so maybe I do still just want to back these off and replace them with offices while I'm thinking about it. Just to create a little bit of a buffer there and sort of balance the industrial demand with what we're seeing here. I think in terms of a high school, Sleigh Town is really the other place where we would see a big return there. I almost would rather do a library for now, at least. So if we get a good location on this, yeah, I think that's the spot right there. There we go. And the other thing I could think about would be switching to the high capacity high school in here. So that would fit just fine. It would be a very different look, wouldn't it? And I kind of love how this looks here, all of these different white buildings. So I'm not going to do that. The other option would be to put it in here. I think I'll go ahead and do it. Get a little bit of a different vibe from the high school up there. That's okay. In fact, I may even want to face this onto this road instead. Yeah, I think that's better. So I believe this up here we call it the Elven Institute. I think this down here I want to go ahead and call the Elven Culinary School. So this is where all of Santa's bakers will attend. We're just going to keep filling in here, meeting this residential demand. Really liking how this is turning out. Look at this. This town has really just like sprung to life here. I'm loving this. Do I have more room out here to play with? I do have quite a bit more room to play with, to be honest. Obviously also still plenty up here that I could be doing something with. We just do that. Oof, some of this is looking a little rough here, being that close to the flour mill. It's probably to be expected. I think maybe just back a couple of those out, and if these are doing okay here, pop those in. Great. Oh, I love how this looks here now. Look at this. I'd say one of the biggest challenges I've had with this build has just been getting my themes lined up the way I want them to. between the European suburbia and the European, just to make sure everything is working how I'm getting the look I want to in every part of it, you know? So we got some traffic down here. This is to be expected. So I think a lot of tourists, yeah, so I figured this out from last time. I was curious as to why we were still seeing tourists at a cargo airport, and it is basically because of the reindeer. So Sleigh Ride is actually a unique building. It's getting 46 visitors a week. They're all tourists. This riding stable is getting 19 visitors a week. 13 of them are tourists. They're all going to be coming in on this back road here, funnily enough. That's just kind of, I don't know. I'm not crazy about it, but it's the game's mechanics and I'm living with it, so it is what it is. I think it's a little goofy, but sometimes life's a little goofy, you know? Trying to do these different districts right against each other is very, very tricky. And then I may just do fewer connections there. Okay, we'll do that. I'm also really unhappy with the Elven Terraces now. I really thought I was going to have to go like absolutely ham wild with residential zoning through so much of this, and it just didn't turn out to be the case. So the Elven Terraces were really like conceived of in this way of like, okay, if I have to do a ton of residential zoning all through these different areas around the towns in order to keep up with my work account, but I've done fairly all right just with the high density European zoning has been more than enough. I'm gonna get rid of this. Maybe this will be, I don't know. Nobody's really tuned into this series. This is just for me. I'm just really unhappy with how this looks up here. I think it's not badly designed. It's just unnecessary in a way that makes it stick out right now and that I'm very unhappy with. Alright, so we're still over 6,000 population, even pulling out that terraced housing. I think the thing that says to me the most is that the terraced housing is not incredibly space efficient, which it doesn't need to be, don't get me wrong. That's not the purpose of that. That was a nice, I thought, aesthetic way to close what I was worried would be really big gaps in our staffing at, you know, a North Pole that is definitely primarily a massive industrial operation. That said, it didn't really come to pass, and the high density European housing has been really clutch in sort of ensuring we're not seeing any staffing shortages here. If anything, we're seeing some hiccups in the supply chain still, as plastics have now become a problem. I don't feel like we have a ton of room to change things up for that. This is sort of in a weird spot here right now. Let me just slide that there. Could potentially move this back one. Can only fit one of those there though, unfortunately. Although maybe it makes sense to move the plain timber there regardless. Because then we can move the plastics over here, right? Like so. I think we may just get rid of this road for now. Okay. And then we go ahead and boost our plastics production with, well, we could do a bigger plant here. And I like that idea a lot, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. So the same thing we started out the episode over here with, switching over to the pulp mill to double our paper production. Let's go ahead and see what the difference there is. So we had the petrochemical plant, which was putting out 40 tons a week. Now we'll be getting 80 tons, 3 extra freight trucks. So I think that that was a good move. Oh, we should think about, obviously, a snow dump up here as well. Maybe out here by the school. Overall, our snow coverage is going well. You can see we've had to put one of those basically at every single spot there. So I think what I'll go ahead and do, just to create a little sense of differentiation here, we'll have downtown Cookieville and Cookieville. I think it's not a surprise that a lot of elves would want to live in Cookie Town. I'd imagine of all of these towns, it probably smells the best. Toy Town might not be bad necessarily. I'd imagine that the Coal Town doesn't smell great. And the airport probably smells like reindeer, for being honest. We've tanked residential demand. Which is quite interesting. Makes me wonder if I shouldn't think about maybe backing some of this up, replacing it with some more commercial here. Actually, you know what? I don't want any of this out here, I think. I can tell it's sort of like marginally on the edge there. And I think I would just rather pull all this back and put that housing in somewhere else, if I'm being honest. So just create some nice little lush patches of evergreen through here. This will help with noise if there's any issues with that in this neighborhood. And also just gonna like really I think help create a more festive wintry look. I mean, look at that, right? Yeah, I think so. We're having some noise problems over here, which will resolve themselves it seems. So you can kind of mess with traffic a little bit through these. It's not the same as what you can do in a traffic management mod, obviously, but it's not bad either. You can sort of like make it obvious like which movements you're prioritizing by using stop signs. I think that's a really effective way to use them. You can also, I think, do sort of role play with them, like down through this sort of downtowny area right here. I really want to have a lot of four-way stops because I think that will feel safe that way, and I'll leave a stoplight in for safety. So you can see my favorite strategy here in general for mixing high and low densities is really centralize the high density, and then you can kind of feather out from there with the low density. I think that creates a very realistic feel. I think Cookieville really turned out here. Oh, jeez. Oh, here we go. So here's the other downside to having such a uniquely structured build. Thank God we were working down there in Sleigh Town when that happened. Otherwise, if that had happened while we were up in Cookieville, who knows how long it would have taken me to notice. We are like right on the edge, as you note there. And I wonder if we're doing okay. Yeah. I think what I want to do is just add a coal plant right there. That's not really in the spirit of the build, but it is, I think, necessary mechanically at this point. So I'll live with it. And then, of course, that's going to be a problem. Right. So, we'll need to make sure we replace that boiler down there with access to the boiler up top. Jingle bells, jingle. Okay, you get it. Okay. That should do that. Alright, well, there you have it, folks. Cookie Town at the North Pole. Obviously, this was an interesting build, kind of an interesting spot, created some challenging traffic dynamics potentially that I'll want to think about moving forward. But overall, I'm excited Santa has a bakery. Obviously, the other big thing we did today, not even big really, this was just throwing this down, was the printing press. And I'm excited this is here. Not only do I think the printing press and the toy factory look really good together, they look like they go together really well. It's the same color of red brick that also fits in really nicely here with some other buildings. Like this is the sawmill sort of made of the same stuff here. Well, I guess that's a wood paneling, but the coloring's very similar. But I just think the architectural style on these is so similar and cool. They have that classic old school downtown factory look that I really like. And they run on functionally the same couple of resources, in particular some logging products and some oil products. It seems like we've been able to clean up our shortages there. We are stockpiling oil again. Plain timber has never really been a problem. Paper is filling up again as we replaced some lower output production facilities here with some of the higher output ones. Seems overall like our job situation is okay. We'll check our vital stats. Power, we're in good shape thanks to the addition of a third power plant, as we were definitely starting to get towards the edge. You can see with 3 plants we're doing 120, so with 2 we would have only been doing 80, so it is a good addition there, I think. Water and sewage are fine for now, although you can see sewage is starting to get into a little bit of a questionable area. Education, we did add a new high school, which will be the Elven Culinary Institute, and a new elementary here in Cookieville. I think that's for the best. We've got a pretty good mix right now. You see half of the population is just at that first educated level. We actually have seen, I think our eligibility's probably gone down as our capacity has caught up a little bit here. And now you can see at high school, even with the addition of the second high school, we're still not quite fully, we've got just enough capacity, I guess, like 50 extra spots. Obviously the university's still not happening. A lot of people will cap out at well educated, although our library use, I mean, is pretty banging all things considered. Happiness, pretty high overall. Population, we do have some unemployment issues right now. It's about 300 jobs available. I mean, the population has really expanded this episode. We're up to almost 7,500. So we'll have to be careful of that, I think, because I don't want to add any more population, really, if there's not going to be jobs for them. Land value, pretty alright. Nothing really special. Levels, so got some higher level stuff. Level 4, almost 5 stuff. In Toy Town here. Makes sense, that's our oldest community. Out here at the Coal Town Terraces, low level 2, 3. Down here, level 4s. Level 3s, level 4s. Some of the newer stuff's a little lower, some of the stuff's a little more out of the way. Maybe not as high, that's okay. Alright, so here's where we're at. Santa's got a way to make a list. He's got a way to make toys. He's got mines producing coal. He's got an airport to fly all the toys and coal to the good children of the world, the naughty kids too. And then when he gets back and he gets done, he's got a cookie factory here and a milking parlor, which will ensure he's got plenty of ways to relax. I think I'm going to do 1 more, maybe 2 more episodes of this series. We'll see. But I think what's going to be up next... So I think for the next episode of this series, I want to focus on transit. So what's that going to mean? First of all, I think it's going to mean a Polar Express station for kids to come visit the North Pole. It'll probably be based somewhere out of Toy Town up here. And then I'm not sure what else to do. If you have ideas for other things Santa needs, please let me know. Sound off in the comments below. I think there's so much potential here. Obviously, there's still a couple of weeks before the Christmas is really upon us. Maybe one more episode for the Polar Express and some internal transit planning would be good to connect up some of these smaller towns. And then maybe we'll just do a big North Pole city tour so you can see how everything works. So here we go. Santa's Cookie Factory is in business. What? The reindeer can't fly? It's little nuts. Obviously it's labeled Go Nuts Donuts. That's fine. Can't change that. But now we've got this cookie factory and this entire little Cookieville here. It's well served by the roads coming down off the hill. A lot of new population. We're up to 7,500 now, I think, roughly thereabouts. And I think this is really well situated in another one of the big flat pads we had left. So yeah, let me know what you think. I'm pretty happy with the North Pole as it is. I'm excited to hear what you think. Happy holidays. And come back soon. Bye.